Hey, did you know if everyone in the world just planted one tree, we could save the earth from climate change and biodiversity loss? Hi, I'm Zach Nelson, and I did my senior project on building a greenhouse and exploring the benefits of gardening. So what is climate change and how has it drastically affected our earth? Climate change is Climate change is the long-term shifts in temperature and weather patterns, and it is why the Earth is getting hotter and hotter over time. The drastic effects include losing ice caps, glaciers, rising sea levels, and extreme heat waves. All of these can endanger animals and put them into extinction, and it is why the Earth is looking a lot more different than it has in the past. So how can we combat climate change? Combating climate change can just be as simple as planting more trees. Trees and gardens. One reason of climate change is the drastic removal of trees. Trees and other plants reduces the amount of CO2 or carbon dioxide present in the air. Carbon dioxide is a gas that absorbs and radiates heat, and which would be why it creates climate change. For my senior project, I built a greenhouse. A greenhouse is like a shelter for plants, and it protects them from colder weather. So people like us who live in a colder environment, allows us to plant plants earlier in the year and still have them be able to grow. So the first step in building a greenhouse was meeting with my mentor, Clint Caldwell. He's the general manager of Rockwell Homes, and coming up with a plan to how to build this greenhouse. So our plan was to build an elevated garden box and to just wrap a greenhouse plastic around that to protect the plants. So after we came up with an idea, we drew it on some paper, which was our blueprint, and after that we came up with a shopping list of items we needed to buy at the store. Buying materials and getting equipment. So we went to Home Depot and bought some wood and screws and all the other materials to make this project happen, and my dad had the electrical saw, so that saved us quite a bit of money too. The first thing that we cut were 2x4s to make the legs of the garden box, and then the next thing that we cut was the slabs that were under to create the base of the garden box. We then created like the perimeter of the garden box, and after that we screwed in some hinges to so the lid could open and we could water the plants and take them out when they were ready to be taken out. The next thing that we did was to take tubing and a plastic mesh to create the form. So we wrapped the greenhouse plastic around that. This was done with zip ties and screws, and then we stapled in the greenhouse plastic to the lid. This is the finished product, and this is my mentor, Clint Caldwell. So what I learned that gardening has multiple benefits. Besides the fact that it combats climate change, it's also a great source, a cheap source too, for those in poverty. It is also a healthier source than store-bought foods. So store-bought foods are laced with preservatives and gases, and which has a proven harmful effect on the body. I also learned that it takes planning, preparation, and execution to do a good job. And you have to do 100% at each of these to have a good product. And if you don't, your product might not come out as you planned. I also learned how to get over setbacks. So the wood that we bought from Home Depot was actually like curved, and this set us back, and at first we didn't know how to make this straight, and a straight wood is what you need to have a good product. So we actually ended up buying big clamps, and then with the clamps we clamped it to the board and screwed in screws to make that to keep it straight. I also learned that determination and hard work is required to do a good job and to make a product come out as you expected. I also learned that woodworking is more difficult than it looks. So as I stated earlier, the wood was curved, so it took a lot of work to make that straight again. And yeah, this is my works cited. And is there any questions?
Yes. What was your favorite part of the project?
I actually liked watching it all come together. So instead of just like wood sitting there, I liked how it like came together and to actually have like a final product and to actually just be done with it. So we could actually use it. Any other questions?
What will you use the greenhouse this year?
So it's actually too late in the year to plant any vegetables. So I'm planning on planting flowers in it this year, and then next spring we'll be planting carrots and tomatoes and all that kind of stuff.
Okay. What would your favorite thing be, do you think, to plant in it? Like, what are you most excited for?
That's a good question. I'm actually excited to plant. So it's actually it's not deep enough to grow tomatoes all the way. So we're gonna start some tomatoes in there and then transport them into a bigger space. And then after that, we'll take the tomatoes and like make salsa and stuff.
Did you have any woodworking experience before this project?
No, I actually didn't. So that's why we had my mentor Clint Caldwell come, because he used to be a builder and all that, and so he just taught me how to like build stuff, and yeah.
Let's see, how many hours do you think you spent on the project?
Oh yeah, so it really went above the requirements, because I didn't know it was gonna take that long to like cut the wood and all that. So I would say like 20 to 20 hours of like coming up with the plan, drawing the blueprint, and then like actually building it too.
So when you bought all your materials, was everything just ready to go from Home Depot?
No, so we actually cut it into the 12-foot pieces into 3-foot pieces and 6-foot pieces, and then some were like too bent to actually like work with. So yeah, we just couldn't use those pieces, and yeah. Any other questions?
Were you surprised at how, did you think it was harder than you expected or easier than you expected?
Definitely harder than I expected. Because I expected all the wood to be straight and us to just like screw in the wood pretty easily, but I didn't expect to have to get a clamp and make the board straight.
Was there any other challenges along the way or did everything go pretty well as planned?
It all went pretty well as planned, besides having to make the board straight. Yeah, nothing that I can think of that set us back too far besides the wood not being straight.
That's all the questions I have. That was really good.
Okay, thanks.